Today on Investigate TV Plus, researchers warn new cars could be a wiretap on wheels. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. We take you under the hood to find out the information automakers collect and how to learn what they know. Plus, a costly call. Cybercriminals pose as law enforcement to swindle you out of your hard-earned cash. We explain the con behind the call and show you how a woman in Ohio was able to get her money back.
And
see, once you sand it, how smooth it gets?
a hobby inspired him to carve out a second career.
Start to finish, anywhere from 300 to 400 hours.
The effort and artistry behind the masterpieces made by the Bayou Cajun Craftsman.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus.
These days, new cars are like computers on wheels, using cameras and other smart features to anticipate our every move. But here's something to think about the next time you're stuck in traffic. All those bells and whistles manufacturers tout and buyers pay extra for could be collecting and sharing your personal data.
According to industry experts, the average new car contains as many as 1,500 microchips, and that number is double for electric vehicles.
Consumer investigator Rachel DePompa analyzed the privacy policies of several major automakers.
Hitting the road isn't just you in the driver's seat these days.
Every car right now is a smart car. Every car is connected.
Modern cars are clever. Every acceleration, turn, brake, tap of the screen.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Glenway Drive.
Look in the camera, even conversation.
Please take me to a park.
An element of personal information now collected. Analysts predict by 2025, more than 400 million cars will become connected on our roadways. It's to improve your driving experience, but it also raises questions about where your data is headed next.
I know there's a lot of data collection going on.
Recently retired Thomas Miranda in Virginia was ready to spend a little extra on himself for a car that catered to convenience.
It's got CarPlay, so it's all connected.
Which drove him to a 2023 Volkswagen.
I don't think it talks to my insurance company, hopefully, because this car's fun to drive and I don't want to get myself in trouble.
But your car is likely talking to someone. It's watching, amassing metrics, not only how you drive, but what you do inside it. We analyzed the privacy policies of 14 major automakers, and all of them collect something about you beyond your driving habits. Some examples: anytime your phone connects, your geolocation, search history, contacts, and voice recordings.
We also found all car companies will release your information to law enforcement with a warrant, subpoena, or court order. And all of them say you can opt out of data collection, but it's not uniform. The process is often complicated, and it's not always clear what vehicle features will no longer work when you do opt out.
It's like there needs to be a sweet spot where they can present that information in a way that's easier for the consumers to understand.
Tech company Mozilla calls modern cars a privacy nightmare, writing vehicles are the worst product category it's ever reviewed for privacy.
And consumers don't have a lot of control. They can't turn off a lot of these features without negating the warranty, or they can't opt out a lot of things, or they might not even realize they've been opted into them.
This is why Jen Caldwriter owns a 22-year-old truck. It's less computerized. She leads the team for Mozilla that researched 25 car brands. They found 84% share or sell your personal data.
And some of the car companies are actually selling or sharing that data to data brokers or insurance companies. And insurance companies are using that to adjust people's rates, and they aren't aware that that's happening.
We found multiple lawsuits, including a class action filed by consumers against General Motors for releasing their driving data to insurance companies. Soon after, GM announced it severed ties with two data brokers, LexisNexis and Verisk. That company also dropped by Honda and Hyundai.
Right now, there are no guidelines
There are no rules.
Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts notes technology is ahead of the law. Federally, there's nothing requiring automakers to have privacy protections for their owners or vehicles. He sent letters to 14 automakers raising concerns, asking them to answer a series of questions about what they collect, who sees it, and if you can opt out. All of them responded saying customer privacy is enormously important, but not every automaker answered the specific questions. GM and Kia said they have concerns about the current patchwork of state laws. Stellantis, Nissan, Kia, GM, and Ford all say they strongly support enacting a federal privacy law. Toyota admits it collects location data, facial geometric features, voice recordings, and more. Honda says it gathers audio, electronic, visual, or similar information, your searches, call history, and even voice commands.
You have no privacy. That's their privacy policy.
Our producer drives a 2019 Jeep Compass, which is manufactured by Stellantis. She pulled her free vehicle privacy report. In seconds, she learned for the first time Jeep is collecting her location, biometrics, meaning face and fingerprints from connected services, and other personal information. In its letter to Senator Markey, Stellantis said it only collects information when required or permitted by law or authorized by customers.
You asked 14 major automakers about their data privacy policies, what they collect. What do you make of their answers?
Their answers are vague, they're incomplete. The auto industry is hiding what they're doing. Where there's smoke, there's oftentimes fire.
Senator Markey is now urging the Federal Trade Commission to investigate auto manufacturers and their practices. You can request a free consumer disclosure report anytime from LexisNexis or Verisk to find out what your vehicle is collecting about you.
Rachel, what if you have a concern with your report?
Well, the FTC says it will take action to protect consumers against the illegal use, collection, and disclosure of their data. In the meantime, you can also dispute any findings in their report under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Now, LexisNexis and Verisk each have an online dispute process. We have put links to those on InvestigateTV.com. You can also search this story, Data Driven.
We all know regular exercise improves strength and endurance, but it could have bigger benefits for patients living with Parkinson's disease.
Still ahead, we take you inside the classes fostering more than fitness.
But first, a fake out on the phone. A U.S. Marshal issues a warning after a woman in Ohio is scammed by an imposter. We show you how to spot this con.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. They're free to download. It may have a funny name, but spoofing is a costly cybercrime.
Spoofing involves a criminal disguising an email address, text message, or phone number to convince you that you're interacting with a trusted source like a bank or law enforcement. The FTC says spoofing cost Americans more than $650 million in the final quarter of 2023. For a woman in Ohio, a spoofed call from what appeared to be a U.S. Marshal nearly cost her thousands.
Reporter Jen Picciano takes us inside the scam and shows us how the victim was able to get her money back, and we've altered her voice to protect her identity.
The troubles for this Cuyahoga County woman, who we'll call Colleen, started with a call to her cell phone. The woman on the other line said it was urgent, that the government was listening and recording the call.
She said something about a package that had been intercepted by the customs or something.
The woman says the package in Texas had driver's licenses and marijuana, and Colleen was at risk for identity theft.
I didn't want my family to be affected by anything, so I just wanted to continue to listen to her in case there was something I could do to help.
Colleen was transferred to who she was told was U.S. Marshal Pete Elliott to validate the situation. Scammers had spoofed the local U.S. Marshal's office phone number and told her she had to stay on the line.
You can't put me on mute. You can't call anyone else. You can't tell anyone. Because I said, I've got to tell my husband. I can't sit here and talk to you. Like, if you're going to be asking me all these things about my bank account.
Under the guise of protecting her good name and her money, the fake Pete Elliott asked her to either travel to Texas to defend herself or provide all kinds of financial information and money in what they called an alternate dispute resolution.
He asked me where my banks were, which she had already asked me. How far were they? They wanted to know, they wanted my cash to be liquidated because they claimed that they were going to have me put it in some government machine disguised as a Bitcoin machine.
Colleen says every question she had or doubt she expressed was answered with plausible explanations. Over a couple of hours, while still on the phone with the scammer, she withdrew nearly $12,000 worth of her cash from several of her bank accounts and went to various Bitcoin ATMs to make deposits.
He wanted to hear the money going into the machine. He said that several times. You've got to put the phone near the, where the cash is going in. The whole time, he just kept reminding me how important it was that I follow his instruction. I don't hang up because I must protect my identity or, everything, we could lose everything.
Hours after Colleen finally got off the phone, she pulled up the U.S. Marshal's website and saw the warning about a trending scam and figured out what happened. The real U.S. Marshal Pete Elliott says she's one of many local people who have been targeted with this very scam using his name.
We've received calls in the office by individuals claiming that Pete Elliott, the U.S. Marshal, called them saying they had a warrant for their arrest, asking for debit card information and routing numbers, and saying that basically they can get out of this as long as they go and get money.
Elliott says they'll never ask for money over the phone and never ask for banking information.
Anytime you have that and they're trying to pressure you into making a decision right away, it's a scam.
Colleen takes responsibility and says she's sad she didn't heed warning signs. For others who may become targets, she has a simple solution.
If you don't recognize a number, don't pick up the phone. I mean, that's just really the thing I'm never going to do anymore.
Colleen got most of the $12,000 she lost back through her insurance. Her provider offers what's called cyber protection coverage. Now, NerdWallet says personal cyber insurance can help you recover from data breaches, online fraud, cyberbullying, and other cyber crimes. It's generally inexpensive, with some starting at less than $3 a month when you add it to an existing homeowner's or renter's insurance policy. The cost depends on where you buy it and how high of a coverage limit you choose. In Cleveland, I'm Jen Pachano.
He's inspired by his heritage.
On your occasion, things stick to you.
To create works of art, we take you to the Louisiana Bayou, where a craftsman carves up a legacy.
But first, it's more proof that exercise is the best medicine. We show you how movement helps ease symptoms in people living with Parkinson's disease.
Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to InvestigateTV Plus on all social media platforms.
The Parkinson's Foundation says every year nearly 90,000 Americans will be diagnosed with Parkinson's. By 2040, researchers at Yale School of Medicine estimate that more than 12 million people worldwide will be living with the condition. We know that's a staggering number, and it can be overwhelming and challenging for the patient and their family once diagnosed. But there is hope and help.
Along with medication, researchers have found that people living with Parkinson's can improve their health, well-being, and even slow the disease's progression with exercise. Rick Irwin is in the early stages of Parkinson's disease.
Fighting the good fight, and it's a tough fight.
A fight that Bob Thomas says requires strength and determination.
It's okay to give out, but don't give up.
Parkinson's disease is a formidable opponent that affects the nervous system and movement. The World Health Organization says the disease can also cause problems with mental health, sleep, and pain. Medication can help ease symptoms, but doctors are also turning to another prescription to help improve their patients' lives.
We're going to pull our arms up over the head, and flap out those hands.
At an Atlanta area YMCA, empowering patients like Rick is exactly what teacher Mickey Joyner does during this specialized workout.
Lap, clap.
Our Parkinson's movement class is a class which incorporates lots of things to fight and combat the symptoms of Parkinson's.
That means focusing on what many of us may consider to be the little things, like facial expressions, vocal strength, gait, and hand dexterity.
Big V's in between your fingers.
I enjoy teaching this class because I can see the rewards.
As for Rick, he gets moving at the Y with his care partner, Paula. After taking the class with Rick for several months, she got a shock during his most recent doctor's appointment.
When we went for his 6-month Parkinson's diagnosis checkup, he'd been diagnosed for 6 months, he had made some real improvements.
At a South Carolina Y, James Kinney refuses to let Parkinson's get the upper hand in his fight. He jabs his way through a non-contact boxing class to improve his balance and prevent falls.
The first question out of the doctor's mouth and out of the nurse's mouth, how many times have you fallen since your last visit? And I have been very blessed in that I have not fallen yet.
James is in the same ring as Bob, who says he's gained more from the class than a right hook.
Speaking to people is better. Interaction with people is better. It's like a family.
The Michael J. Fox Foundation says the best exercise for someone living with Parkinson's is one that their care team approves and that appeals to them because they'll stick with it.
Duke University professor of neurology, Dr. Burton Scott, has a clear message for all of his patients.
Anything is better than nothing. And walking is inexpensive and beneficial. And so at the very least, I would encourage people to be walking on a regular basis, once a day, several days a week for a distance, to the extent that they're able to do so, but starting with a low amount and then gradually increasing their exercise tolerance. I can't say that exercise stops the progression of the illness, but it certainly makes people have an improved quality of life for a longer period of time.
In addition, Dr. Scott says something as simple as knitting can help with fine motor skills. He encourages his patients to practice mental fitness as well, such as reading a book, then talking to somebody about it.
His memories inspire him to create.
I made a joke about it. I said, I used to have a hobby, now I got a business.
Up next, the miniature masterpieces that tell the story of life on the Louisiana Bayou.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes.
It starts as a plank of cypress. Then Ray Dewey painstakingly hand carves it into a masterpiece using his Cajun ingenuity. His whole life, Ray worked on boats like the ones he carves, and now what started as a relaxing hobby has become a labor of love.
Photojournalist Derek Waldrop introduces us to the Bayou Cajun Craftsman.
I sit there sometimes and I watch him do it, and it's amazing.
It all comes natural to me.
Everything he does is from his memory, no pictures.
Start to finish, anywhere from 300 to 400 hours.
It's boats he either worked on or he witnessed as he was shrimping and trolling.
Like this propeller, I already got over 3 hours on it, and I'm about 75% complete.
How can somebody really do something like that piece by piece by piece,
When you're Cajun, things stick to you. See, once you sand it, how smooth it gets.
My dad's been working on boats pretty much his whole life, and he started carving. The more he started doing it, the more I realized that he's got a natural born talent.
When I'll get there and start working on that, I forget about everything. I got 23 great grandkids, and I worry a lot about them, and it relaxes me.
Everything is by hand, nailed, puttied, sanded by hand. He's an old Cajun, that everything is just Cajun ingenuity.
On a Easter Sunday we met, because we go to the dance hall every Saturday, and we got to dancing and stuff like that. and he kind of had a fight with my old boyfriend. And then we got married, so like I said, it's over 60 and a half years. He was the kind that couldn't keep still, or he had to do something. He had to keep, himself occupied.
When I was growing up, my daddy used to build his own pirogues.
Cajun people that settled the bayous, and they were trappers and shrimpers and oystermen. Everyone made their living from the land.
And I was always with him, interested in that. So he put me aside a piece of wood and gave me some little tool to start working on that.
They go out into the open waters and they shrimp, and each boat is built just like that.
My daddy had 3 boats. That was his last boat. We built that.
One of them, the oyster lugger, is from 1909, so he built it identical to what he remembers.
That was my best boat. I love that boat.
It blew my mind at the talent he has, and I wanted to share it. So that's why I created a page for him on Facebook. That way we could share his talent with everyone.
She decided to put him on Facebook. Then I made a joke about it. I said, I used to have a hobby. Now I got a business.
So that's why he's building these models to protect our heritage.
People is going to see that, and they're going to start remembering back or look back at the past to see what was what before.
That's where you come from. That's the Cajun way of living.
Wow, just incredible. The detail in every piece he does there. It's just so special.
Yeah, those boats that he makes look just like the ones on the bayou, so we could like compare it as we were watching the video. It's pretty cool.
Very nice. All right, you can check out more of Ray's work. You heard about it, his Facebook page. It's Bayou Cajun Craftsman. And that's it for us here on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Thanks for watching.
On the next Investigate TV Plus, protecting people and their property from worsening wildfire seasons.
And I just can't sleep at night. I just see the fire, the smoke every time I close my eyes.
We take an in-depth look at the cutting-edge tools used to help crews prevent and detect fires before the flames can reach homes.